I call to order the February 26th meeting of the Miami Garden City Council. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Odom.
Here.
Councilwoman Wilson.
Here.
Councilman Godaro.
Here.
Councilman Leon.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Harris.
Here.
Mayor Gilbert.
I'm here.
You have a quorum.
Please rise for invocation and pledge allegiance. Bowing your heads, Heavenly Father, Lord and Savior, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this moment. We thank you for the breath in our lungs. Keep us in your will and your way. Order our steps. Cover us with your mercy and your grace. We are undeserving and grateful. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Put them on vibrate, please. Thank you. All right. We have the minutes.
We'll draw the minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you. All right, now we're on to order of business. Council members, you all have in front of you an item for the Alumni Association picnics for Carroll City and Norland that I'm looking to add on. I just wanted to get this out the way. We added on and sponsor the parks for them every year, allowing them to do their alumni picnics there. It's a good community event for the Alumni Association, and we just don't charge them. If there's no objection, I'll add this on to the consent agenda.
It'll be 11.5.
No objection? Show it added. All right. Okay, I will. All right. Any other changes to the agenda? All right, I need a motion on the agenda. Motion.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hold on, wait. You want to pull?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. What's the pull?
The first one with the career source?
Okay, show 11.1 pulled. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, show the agenda approved as adopted. There are no presentations. Yay. All right, we're now on to public comment. If you wish to make a public comment, please fill out a yellow card. Come to the podium. You have 2 minutes. State your name and your address. This is Xavier Ingram.
Xavier Ingram, 20641 Northwest 17th Avenue. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. If you don't believe this, then you should not be in the offices that you hold. We cannot have a vision for the future of our community if we do not acknowledge, respect where we've come from. Mr. Mayor, council members, city attorney, city manager, you only hold those positions because of the blood, sacrifice, and vision of those that came before us. At the last county commission meeting, Commissioner Monestein said from one of his elders, advice was, to be a good leader, we must know when not to use our power. This is our city, and you stand on the shoulders of our community parents. Just because they've given us the keys and put the house in our name doesn't give us the right to kick them out if their opinion doesn't agree with ours. This opens the door for people and representatives like from the Dolphins to threaten my mother's 501c3 for standing up for her community. We must stand united or fall apart. This is February 2020, and it's time for us to be unapologetically black and serve for the betterment of our community and not ourselves. If you can't respect the passion and opinion from your community that you say you represent, then what can we expect from others? Part of the solution is open dialogue between our elected officials and our community. Also, to be in regular attendance in meetings where the community concerns are discussed, like UPPAC. I also suggest that maybe town hall meetings. I did hear earlier, and I do commend you, the junior commission meeting and the representatives that you had there let me know about the tea party that you do have with the community, and that's good, but we need to open it up more, and also for all the representatives. I expect to see y'all at UPAC Saturdays, 9 to 1. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Having no more cards, public comment is closed. We're now on to the consent agenda, Mr. Clerk.
Item 11.2, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders to Safeware Inc. for the purchase of a closed-circuit television camera solution by relying upon County of Fairfax, Virginia's contract number 4400008468 in an amount not to exceed $172,362.28, providing for instructions to the city clerk, providing for an effective date, and is sponsored by the city manager. Item 11.3, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Gardens, Florida, awarding invitation to bid number 19-20-002 to RG Underground Engineering, Inc. for the VISTA VERDE Phase 3 drainage improvements, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for this purpose in an amount not to exceed $1,334,385, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager. Item 11.4, resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, allocating second-year grant funding for the LHMG initiative from the Department of Human Services Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Racial and ethnic approaches to community health, REACH, and PAREN, authorizing the city manager and the city clerk to execute and attest respectively contractor agreements for this purpose in substantial form as that agreement attached here to as Exhibit A, providing for instructions to the city clerk, providing for adoption representation, providing for effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager. Item 11.5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing the use of the city parks and City of Miami Gardens showmobile for the Miami Carroll City Senior High Alumni Association's annual community picnic and the Miami New Orleans Senior High School Alumni Association annual picnic in fiscal year 2020, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Mayor Oliver Gilbert, and that is your consent agenda.
Any motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, show the consent agenda adopted. Now go on to the item that was drawn, Mr. Clerk.
Item 11.1, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute and attest respectively that certain agreement with Career Source South Florida for a youth summer program, a copy of which is attached here to as Exhibit A, appropriating funding in an amount not to exceed $150,000, providing for instructions to the city clerk, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Mayor Oliver Gilbert.
Okay, it was pulled by Councilwoman Wilson.
Yeah, I know that we do this primarily every year. I'm not sure how long, but I know in the year that I have been here, it was on the agenda. And having been here a year now and kind of watched over our programming for our young children, particularly in the summer, we need to really make sure that they have viable things that they are involved in. And there's nothing more important to me than that being a work opportunity as well as an opportunity for them to continue to develop in the expressive arts. This past week or so, District 1 had a phenomenal program, and it was the 4th year in a row with Vice Chair Dr. Gallen. And we have also here an incredible science program that is run by our councilman. And those programs, to me, sometimes in the course of a regular 10-month program, it isn't a sufficient amount of time for our kids to really be involved in it to the degree that it allows their development to take place in the academic year. So I'm wondering how much of this is really effective if we don't look at increasing it. Growing up in what was then Carroll City, I remember being a part of Team Clean. I remember being a part of programs in the summer that kept us busy as youth. And not only kept us busy, but kept us developed and kept us focused on other things that were productive and meaningful in our lives and carried us well into our adulthood, such as swimming. So I know that Career Source has done a pretty good job in the past. I'd like to see that they continue to do a job. I'd like to see that it is expanded. And I would also like to see us look at ways to take things that we do all year and expand it into a more, greater depth for our beautiful children. Because our families deserve the kind of qualitative programming that oftentimes doesn't come during the school year because of the focus on standardized testing. But if we are able to pull together a 6 to 8 week kind of summer programming that allows for employment as well as arts development and other areas, I really believe that we will see a brighter light in our future with our youth. So I would propose at this juncture, and I know that it might not be the best one, I would propose to this council that we take a look at seeing if we could expand this career source opportunity for greater opportunities for more youth to be involved in it. I'm not sure how much money that would take and whether or not the budget would allow for it, but I certainly would request that the city manager come back with something that gives us an idea of how many children we can service and at what cost.
There are two different items, because we do have a waiting list in the summer program. And how the summer program works, this is actually my item that I sponsor with CareerSource, is that we put forth money and CareerSource in the county, they match the money. So we put forth $150,000 and they put forth $150,000, and so we employ kids up to a $300,000 amount. Rick did actually speak to me about this, and I know that he can match at least another $50,000. So if we add another $50,000, and he can add another $50,000, so we can go to $400,000. So that's one issue that we can address on this item. But if I'm hearing you correctly, Mr. Manager, could you have maybe Ms. Nelson or Mr. Clay sit down and talk to them about if there are year-round programs that can be accessed throughout that same type of, mechanism?
Sure. Yeah, we can look at that. And the good thing about it is that, as you know, we will be preparing for our budget season soon.
Yes.
So we can look at all of that going forward for next year's budget.
Okay, so we can do that. Now, on this, do you want to look at adding money for this summer program now?
I do.
Okay. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, it's my item, I'm going to amend this item to $200,000. And we're going to do that, but only if they can actually match the money. Only if they can match. They said they could, and we do have a waiting list for kids every year. And you all know we do this for kids, but we also do it because we want as few kids roaming the street unoccupied during the summer as possible. So that's why we do it.
And I also want to bring something. The superintendent of schools a couple of years ago allowed children to work, and they bought their uniforms. And the relief with those parents when those kids were able to get their stipend and go and buy their uniforms and take care of their school supplies, it was incredible. And I'm not suggesting in any way that we are here to augment or to not hold parents accountable for taking care of their children. But I am here to say that the ethics that we put into children who understand the value of working and a dollar is even greater. When the connection is made between I work for this and I pay for this, and this is how I move forward, and this is how I can support myself along with those things that I desire to have, I think that we begin to build a strong workforce. Not one that's rooted in just a handout, but one where there is a direct connection between what I labor for and what I acquire.
Okay. Councilman Owen, you had your...
That's okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Dave?
So where is the 50,000 coming
It's
from?
going to come from reserve. It's going to come fund balance. It'll have to come from fund balance because it's not a budgeted item. We have some savings on positions that haven't been filled through this year. I suspect they'll probably sweep that into it, but otherwise it'll come from fund balance.
But But I think that what we would probably need to do is to speak with Rick Beasley on the,
It's
to see,
contingent.
because of the date and the lateness, to see if we're going to be able to change the program at this stage.
It's contingent. If he can do it, then we'll match it.
Okay.
It's contingent. All right. All right. All those in favor of this item as amended, signify by saying
Excuse me,
aye.
Mayor. Need a motion on the item, a motion on the amendment.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of this item as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, show it adopted as amended. All right, we're now on to
Reports.
Reports. Mr. Manager,
Wow.
Mayor, I don't have a report.
Madam Attorney,
I don't have a report.
Mr. Clerk,
No report.
Mr. Iguodala.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know we have scheduled a workshop for tomorrow. It was comforting to hear Councilwoman Wilson make the point that we need to follow up to make sure that this workshop happen. And I'm encouraged to hear from my staff that at least 5 council persons have registered their interest in being here tomorrow. Now, through the chair to the clerk, this is a public meeting. It's open to the public.
When he says, go ahead.
Excuse me, Mayor.
The answer is yes, it's a public meeting.
Yes.
All workshops are by their definition open. All.
Okay. I had evidencing what happened with Commissioner Barbara Jordan. She's been trying, and she's been beat down, being told no over and over again, like I suspect from day one. Because the mayor, obviously, the county mayor, has an interest, a vested interest in Formula One coming to this community. So I have seen an article late last night that suggests that Formula One is feeling the pinch, and the owner is rethinking coming to Miami. I think this is not just by osmosis, it's due to pressure, and we got to keep that pressure on. I was of the opinion that we should support, and I'm still am. I've asked my staff to prepare an item to support and join the lawsuit. And since we have this meeting tomorrow, that's going to be a part of a table conversation. But I hope that this meeting is going to be a real attempt to find solutions and not just do a talk show. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lamb.
No report.
Ms. Wilson.
As I stated earlier, District 1 schools had an incredible event on the 19th of February. And I was a proud supporter and of all of our schools. And I think that I would love to see greater attendance of our community at our School of White events to support our children and to support the incredible work that's being done by the administrators and the staffs in these schools, where they are transforming our schools for us to have great programming for our children and subsequently for our future. Education is essential, and I have tagged that we are building our city one student at a time, one child at a time. It is our future. So hence, what I'm saying to you is that every single person on this dais has a program of some sort connected with children. And I think that every single person under the sound of my voice ought to be involved in one of them. Because the mentorship, the guidance, the pouring into them is needed. And there should never be a disconnect between the wise and the newly informed. So I want to commend Dr. Gallen for his work, and I want to commend all of you that were in attendance for the event, my colleagues here on the board that supported. And I just hope that next year that you will be there and that over the summer, we'll see you in some of these programs that will be happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Odom.
For over a month, we've been advertising the Elderly Affairs Committee and having their Black History Extravaganza. That's going to be Saturday, February 29th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. will be held at Betty T. Ferguson Recreational Complex. End of my report.
Vice Mayor.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Williams.
A couple of things. I want to thank Cameron, all of his staff, Sonia, police department, and everyone that had a hand in the science fair. We had a parent summit at FIU this Saturday. I went down there at South Campus under the impression that I was going to explode, and found out that it turned out to be the biggest event ever that we've had and what they put on. They put out a lot of money. This year we had an opportunity to go to the observatory laboratory where we were up on the 3rd floor looking at a telescope at Brazil Live, and we were in a space room. It was just unbelievable. And not only were the kids in awe, we had to constantly pull the parents away because the parents went off. And I think, people around this county and around the state see what we do in science, and they want to be partners with what we're doing, and they want to emulate what we're doing. And hopefully we won't lose that position as we move forward. Today I had an opportunity last week. I got an emergency call from Otis Elevator, worth $17.8 billion company. And they wanted to do something around science and partner with us. So the day, under short notice, we met at Carroll City Middle School. We started about 7 this morning, and they brought about 20 employees, a lot of their senior staff. They brought a lot of supplies, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars worth of supplies and manpower to help support their school and put in an auxiliary botanical fruit garden there. So it was just a wonderful experience how people outside of this city is reaching out to be a part of what we're doing, in science and all the other things we do around kids. And I want to commend all of you all, but particularly staff. I know I beat up on Cameron for a bag of mulch or a load of sand and those types of things, and they come through. And hopefully we'll see more of these things. Otis Elevator, the largest company in the world that makes vertical movement. They make movable sidewalks, and they make escalators, a lot of those things I didn't know. And they're committed to supporting this city on a quarterly basis in different aspects. So I'll pass this on to a lot of you all that have events like what you're doing, Mayor, to get more support from them. And the last thing that I want to talk about, and I'm probably going to bring an item back to this council, and I'm going to take a real good look at our assistants, how we manage them, or how I manage them, and how at-large versus districts manage those assistants during the day. And I want to work with the city attorney on some things as it relates to that. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. This coming Saturday at the community center, 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I, along with Commissioner Barbara Jordan, is sponsoring the Black History Heritage event. So please come out. It's from 12 to 4. You can come out to that event from 12 to 4, and then you can just stay for the seniors event, which I guess starts then at 4 o'clock. Yeah, so you can just make it a whole day of Black heritage and Black history at the community center. I'd like to congratulate our Vice Mayor about the robot contest that we had at Carroll City. It was a great turnout. Kids came from all over the place, And the robots, the competition was amazing. So congratulations on that. I want to, well, also I'm getting back from Tallahassee, and so I'll be giving you all an update on where we are with regard to transportation. We are continuing to try to push the envelope forward from a county and a regional perspective to try to get the North Corridor done. We need to make progress on mass transit down 27th Avenue. So it was a promise that was made decades ago. And so we've made some progress. We've gotten plans passed. You know, we're getting the studies done, but we need right-of-way acquisition and stuff. And we're working with the county and the state and hopefully the federal government to try to do that stuff. And so I'll definitely keep you all informed of that. Also, we're making good progress. We're hopeful about the funding we're trying to seek through the state for our Performing Arts Center. So we're hopeful. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're optimistic. And so we're still working. I don't know. I may have to go back up there again for that item during the budget season. I'd like to make a comment about the decorum of these meetings. As a mayor, as a council member, before I was even mayor, I'd have tea events. If you invite me to your house, I'll bring refreshments. You invite your neighbors. I'll sit there and answer your questions forever. We can have a conversation. We can talk. Listen, great ideas have come from there. Great misconceptions have been laid to waste there. But what I noted, having gone to probably 90% of the council meetings that we've had since we've been a city, even before I was on the board, prior to 2008, is that we can't ever be a city without decorum. Other cities can do that, and it'll be fine. But if we do that, we're going to be that black city that don't know how to act. We can have conversations. We can talk about things and discuss things, but we will do it within the mechanisms outlined in this meeting. I'm very serious about when people sit up here, when you all in public comment, us sitting attentively and listening. When we're in dialogue, public comment is ended. Once public comment ends, we won't yell out, we won't scream out, we won't demonstrate, because I promise you what this city, as the largest black city in the state of Florida, cannot survive is them saying we don't know how to handle our business, them saying we don't know how to act. The requirement for decorum is for every child and every senior. This isn't something I made up. It's something I adopted from the first mayor. We will act in accordance with that decorum at all times while I'm chairing this meeting. Because I understand what happens to the city and its image if we don't. I need a motion.
Second it.
We are adjourned.
Yes, sir. Fine, how about yourself?
Hey, young man, how you been? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my
What's up, Charles? I had just spoken